Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm doing a Red Eyes Black Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because we just got Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and this card is actually insane. I mean, getting to pop 2 cards on your opponent's side of the field, being able to summon it multiple times per turn, and getting negates against your opponent is just absolutely crazy. Also, being able to not be destroyed by card effects and you can't target it either is just like the icing on the cake. But this card is really, really cool, and I am super excited to incorporate it into my Red Eyes Black Dragon deck profile. So, without further ado, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out that Patreon down in the description below, because we have some awesome awards for you guys. You like getting your name in the description of every single video, getting a signed card sent in the mail, or even getting a requested deck profile just like this one every single month that you are a patron, along with test hands. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight on into this. So first off, you're going to be playing 3 copies of the Bad Mama Jam himself. You're going to be playing 3 copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon, a furious dragon with a deadly attack. This card is really good in the deck. It is a vanilla, but you would say, hey, it's not quite as good as Blue Eyes, but this card is all about potential, and the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon represents that to the max. We finally got some potential out of our Red Eyes after, like 20 years. Late bloomer. But then we're going to be playing a single copy of Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon. Red Eyes Black Flare Dragon is a really good card in this deck that you can normal summon it. If you guys don't know what Geminis do, you can normal summon them again, and after you normal summon them again, they get an additional effect. This particular monster gets the ability that if it battles an opponent's monster after a damage calculation, you inflict damage equal to its original attack. So basically it burns your opponent for 2,400 damage, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon. You just have to tribute 2 monsters on the field to be able to summon this card, which is or tribute a Red Eyes monster to be able to special summon this card from your hand, which is really good to be able to do. And then if it's destroyed by battle or by card effect, then you could special summon a Red Eyes from your graveyard and then double its attack, which is really, really good. We then play 2 copies of Noctovision Dragon. Noctovision Dragon is super good in the deck because if a Dark Dragon monster is special summoned to your field, except during the damage step, then you can special summon this card from your hand, and if it's sent to the graveyard as a link material, you get to draw a card, and you can only use each effect of Noctovision once per turn. Really good effect to be able to just special summon it out to your side of the field, and a really awesome card to help you go into your rank 7 plays. We then play 3 copies of Txne Spirit Vishuda. Vishuda is really good in the deck for controlling your opponent, because if you control no effect monsters, then you can special summon this card from your hand, and your Red Eyes Black Dragon is in vanilla. Your copy of your Gemini monster is vanilla until you normal summon it. So this card's really good to just follow out a Red Eyes Black Dragon, and then you special summon it to your side of the field, use it as a material to summon out your Flare Metal, and then go off from there with all the different plays. It also has the ability that you can banish from your graveyard. If you control a face-up normal monster, you can banish a card from your graveyard and then target a card your opponent controls and return it to the hand, which is really good to just be able to bounce stuff off your opponent's side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon. This card is probably one of the best cards in the entire deck. If it's sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand, and you can equip it to a Red Eyes monster and make it gain 600 attack. But the searching ability is what's the best about this card. We then play 2 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. When this card is normal summoned, you can send it to the graveyard or tribute it, and then special summon a level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster from your deck, which is really good. If it's in your graveyard, you can shuffle back one of your Red Eyes monsters back into the deck, and then if you do, then you get to add this card back to your hand, but you can only use each effect of it once per turn. We then play a single copy. For our 1-ofs, we're playing a single copy of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. This card got eroded as a once per turn, and we got this awesome new artwork, so I actually changed it out to play this, and it is the eroded version where you can only use this effect once per turn to be able to special summon a dragon from the graveyard. I play a single copy of Red Eyes Wyvern. Now, this is a personal tech that I actually play for Red Eyes Insight. So you guys might be thinking, why is he playing Red Eyes Wyvern? Well, what it does is if you don't normal summon this turn, then during the end phase, you can banish it and special summon a Red Eyes monster from your graveyard, except another copy of itself, which can be your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon if it does get destroyed, which your opponent will have a problem with this deck because you can summon even 2 copies of your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which is insane. But banishing the Red Eyes Wyvern right off the bat to be able to special summon a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon out of the graveyard, a Red Eyes Black Dragon out of the graveyard, your copy of Darkness Metal, I mean, it's just really good. And sending it to the graveyard just to set it up with your Red Eyes Insight is just peak performance. We then play a single copy of Dark Magician. You got to play a single copy of Dark Magician so you can go into your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. It's really good in the deck to be able to just drop it with a copy of Red Eyes Fusion or Verte Anaconda to be able to get out your copies of your Red Eyes Red Eyes Dark Dragoon onto your side of the field. One copy of Light Pulsar Dragon. This card is used to go into our copy of our Meteor Black Comet Dragon. It's really good to be able to go into Meteor Black with this card, and so it's just an overall awesome card to play as a one-of. And then I play a single copy of Rocket Synchron. So you guys might be looking at Rocket Synchron and going, wait, what are we doing with this? Well, you can actually make a card that's an out to Red Eyes Dark Dragoon in this deck, which is something that I really wanted to focus on. If my opponent makes a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, I want to be able to out it. And that's a single copy of Beals. So you can actually make Beals, and Beals is a really neat little tech card that you can play in this deck, that you can normal summon out the copy of Rocket Synchron, bring back your copy of your Red Eyes Black Dragon, and then synchro summon them both away to summon out your copy of Beals, which is one of my favorite synchro monsters in the entire game. It can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and when you take battle damage, it gains attack equal to the amount of the damage you took. So if your opponent has a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, they can't pop it. It can't be destroyed by their card effect that they're going to try and pop it with. They can't negate it because it can't be destroyed, and it can't be targeted either. And so you just swing over your opponent, which is really, really good. Or it can't be targeted. It just can't be destroyed by card effects or by battle. So you just swing over the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So it's really easy to handle. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Call by the Grave. The 3 copies of Call by the Grave is a normal thing for this deck, especially for a deck that's playing Verte Anaconda. Anaconda is really good, but it is very vulnerable to hand traps like Ash Blossom. And so you have the Call by the Grave to stop your opponent's Ash Blossom when you're trying to go for your Dragoons. Because once you establish Dragoons, they might as well scoop. We then play a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is really good in this deck to be able to revive any monster that you particularly need out of the graveyard. We then play 2 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. I foresee this going to 1 very soon, but for now we're going to play 2 of it. It's fine if it goes to 1. You can still play it in this particular deck. It's fine. I was playing it at 1 all the way up until Dragoons got released, so it's not that big of a deal. If you just want to play 1, you can, and play like an Upstart Goblin or something, but I like playing 2 copies of it because I want to see it and I want to send it with Verte Anaconda. Really good card. You can fusion summon into your copy of Dragoon, or you can fusion summon into your copy of Meteor Black Comet, depending on if you can burn your opponent out with the Meteor Black Comet. We then play a single copy of Magical Eyes Fusion. This card is going to be pretty standard in a lot of decks nowadays, once, a lot of my deck profiles get out. I don't know if a lot of people are playing it at the moment, but that card is really insane to get out your second copy of Dragoons. It's going to be really good until Dragoons gets limited, which will happen eventually. But Magical Eyes Fusion is really good because you can use the copy of Magical Eyes Fusion after you use Red Eyes Fusion on the next turn. You can't do it the same turn because your copy of Red Eyes Fusion says, hey, you can't special summon anything else or normal summon anything else. You can only set. But follow-up plays with Magical Eyes Fusion is really good, especially if you draw this and activate it and it resolves to get your Dragoons out on first turn, and then you draw into a copy of Magical Eyes Fusion the next turn, drop a copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoons, or you summon Anaconda and send this to summon out your second Dragoons. It's just nuts. We then play 3 copies of Allure of Darkness just to be able to dig into the deck a little bit deeper to grab what we particularly need. It really helps out just to be able to dig into the deck to be able to grab all sorts of different cards. We then play 3 copies of Return of the Dragon Lords. Return of the Dragon Lords helps us bring back all of our Red Eyes monsters. It helps us bring back our copy of Meteor Black Comet Dragon. It helps us bring back our copies of our Light Pulsar, which combos off with Red Eyes Darkness Metal, because if Darkness Metal gets destroyed while Light Pulsar is in grave, or vice versa, if Light Pulsar gets destroyed while Darkness Metal is in the grave, you can revive the Darkness Metal and then vice versa, revive each other off of each other. That's why you play that for the Meteor Black Comet. And then we play 3 copies of Red Eyes Insight, which searches our Red Eyes Fusion and our 3 traps that we play in the deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. I will mention, you guys, this is what I was talking about just a second ago with the Red Eyes Wyvern, is you're usually going to send the Red Eyes Wyvern off the copy of Red Eyes Insight, because you can, if you didn't normal summon that turn, it's going to get you another Red Eyes out of your graveyard, or if this card is sent to the graveyard, then you can just revive a Red Eyes. It's basically a walking Monster Reborn that kind of like surprises your opponent during the end phase. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're doing something very standard. I'm actually playing 1 of each Red Eyes trap, which is 1 copy of Fang and Chain, 1 Spirit, and 1 Return of the Red Eyes. These 2 are revival traps. They just bring back Red Eyes monsters from the graveyard. And then Fang and Chain has a unique ability to let a Red Eyes monster attack twice during each battle phase. And it has a really cool effect that you can send it to the graveyard and equip an opponent's monster to your Red Eyes monster, which is super cool to be able to just take your opponent's monster and equip it to your Red Eyes monster. But the only downside to this is it makes your your monster had the same attack as that monster that's equipped to it. So if you equip a monster that has 0 attack and 0 defense, your monster goes to 0 attack and 0 defense, which kind of sucks. But hey, it still gets a monster off your opponent's side of the field. So that's it for the traps, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're dropping 2 copies of Red Eyes Dark Dragoons. If it does get limited, that's fine. 1 is fine in this deck. If you only have 1, that's fine. I play 2 because I pull 3 in my case. If you haven't seen my case opening of the Megatins, you should totally watch it. It's broken, okay? That's the nicest way I can put it. It was a broken case. What this card does is it can't be... you ought to know what it does by now. But what it does is it can't be destroyed by card effects. Neither player can target it with card effects. And then during your main phase, you can pop cards equal to the amount of vanilla monsters that you put into this, which is really good. So if you put a Dark Magician and a Red Eyes in this card, you can pop 2 cards. And then when you pop a monster on your opponent's side of the field, they take damage equal to the attack of the monster. So if you pop 2 4K monsters, they're going to lose 8,000 and you instantly win off this card. Also, if that wasn't good enough, it also is a negation as well, that once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can quick effect discard a card and negate the activation of that card, and if you destroy that card, and then this card gains a stack going to 4,000. We then play a single copy of Meteor Black Comet Dragon. Meteor Black Comet Dragon, when it's fusion summoned, you get to send a Red Eyes monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is usually Darkness Metal, and then it has the ability that you can also, if it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, or if it's sent to the graveyard, then you get to target a normal monster in your grave and special summon it, which is pretty good. It's a 3,500 beat stick that floats, which is pretty nice and does burn damage. 1 copy of Beals. Beals is my out to Dragoons. I love this card. It's really nice to be able to just summon this and sit on it and let my opponent try and out it, and they can't usually, which is really fun to be able to do. We play 3 copies of Flare Metal. Flare Metal is ridiculously easy to summon in this deck. I mean, when I mean ridiculous, I mean the last build that I had of this deck was a Flare Metal Turbo, where every time my opponent breathed, they took 1,500 damage. I mean, they literally had, I think it was like 8 effects, and they're just burned completely out. They have no life points left. No, it was actually, yeah, the 8th effect burnt them completely out. They couldn't do anything. If you have 2 of them on the field, it does 1,000. If you have 1 of them on the field, it's 500, and then 15, which would be, if you had all 3, it would be 15, 3,000, 6,000 for 4. It would be the 7th effect. Excuse me, the 7th effect that they activate would just completely burn them out. We then play a single copy of Big Eye just to be able to take our opponent's monsters away from them. Essentially, why are you hitting yourself is what it does. We then play a single copy of Access Code. I changed this out for the Saryuja and the copy of Boral Sword from the last build. Unicorn, just to be able to spin stuff. Phoenix to pop spells and traps. Anaconda, because it wants Bun's Hun. This card is really good in the deck. You pay 2,000, and then you send a fusion spell or a polymerization from your deck to the graveyard, and then it treats its effect as that effect. Hieratic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. This card's really good to be able to tribute a monster and then be able to special summon a normal monster or a dragon monster in your hand or deck and make its attack 0/0. Usually, if I haven't summoned my copy of the Meteor Black, I'm going to usually summon out the copy of Light Pulsar, because Light Pulsar can float, which is super cool. 1 copy of Link Spider. The Link Spider is actually a neat tech, okay? The reason I play Link Spider is because you're never going to use its effect, but you can link away a Red Eyes to go into Anaconda, because Anaconda requires effect monsters, and Link Spider is an effect monster. So you can link away the Red Eyes, summon Link Spider, and then link away another monster on your field to summon out Anaconda, and then Anaconda will go off from there. It's an extra step, it's an extra unnecessary step to fill in Anaconda's requirement. And then we play a single copy of Linkuriboh, because we play so many level 1 monsters in the deck. It's just really necessary to summon the Linkuriboh, because sometimes you'll normal summon out your copy of like Black Metal Dragon, or you'll summon out your copy of your Rocket Synchron, and your opponent will call by the grave the target, and then you'll want to summon out your copy of Linkuriboh as kind of a recovery play, or you'll normally summon out Black Metal Dragon on like a brick hand if you ever get those in this deck. You'll summon out Black Metal and then link it away for Linkuriboh, get an Insight resolve, sends a Red Eyes to graveyard, and then you'll start playing from there. So you still have plays. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's an insanely good, consistent deck. I mean, This deck is really fun. I look forward to showing you guys some live duels with this deck. If anything gets hit, I'll try and put it down in the comments because I'm taking this before the ban list. But I don't think the majority of the stuff in this deck, because it's so new, is going to get hit. I don't think they're going to touch Dragoons because it's only been out like a week since I've taken this video. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.